to be starting up with our folded fabric. So I have my front and the back, the folded edges on this side, and these are the edges that are open up. So I have this one and this one, right? Front and back folded into two and ironed crisp this way. So we're going to be marking everything we want to do on the wrong side of the fabric. First thing we're going to do is measure out the length of the gown. So put in the length of the gown, add about 2 to 3 inches more for hem and the sloping at the top. The next thing we're going to do is measure out the neck area. We're going to be using a neck width of 4.5 inches, 4.5 inches wide, and for the front I'm going to do 7.5 inches deep. 4.5 inches wide, 7.5 inches deep, and we're going to draw a V at that point. So this is what I have now. And then for the sleeve, so the sleeve part is one with the dress, it's not cut separately. All we'll do is come to this end and draw a 1 inch slope down. So we're going to connect it to the top. The next thing we're going to do is measure how wide we want this to be. I'm going to make it about 12 inches wide. So from this shoulder slope, I'm measuring 12 inches. You know, we're still going to sew the sewing allowance and also sew here. So it's going to shrink up a bit. So 12 inches is fine. And then from this part, so this 12 inches is like, let's say the bust line. So we're now going to measure what the waistline will be. From this top, the waistline should get to about 18 inches, which is about here. Okay, so on the waistline, we're going to use the widest part of your body measurement, and in this case we're using 44 inches for the hip. I'm going to divide 44 inches by 4 actually, and that will be 11 inches. This is what 11 inches gets to. Just about here is 11. So you can just add 4 inches more. When you divide the biggest part of your body by 4, just add 4 to 5 inches more for the ease on the BUBU. So we'll continue. Great. So this is just about it. Then for the back neckline, we're going to still use 4.5 for the neck width, but for the neck depth at the back, I will use 1 inch for the neck depth for the back, and then we can connect this 1 inch to the 17 and to this part here. Okay, so that's all we'll have. So when you are cutting, especially the front, please lift it up, cut only this part first before you cut the back, but the other part you are cutting it equal for every other thing. Pockets. So if we're going to be putting pockets on this dress, I'm going to be putting my measuring tape from that shoulder line, and I'll just let my pocket start from 20 inches here, and how wide the pocket should get to about 6 inches wide. So between here and here is where my pockets will fall on, and yeah, that's about it. So I'll just snip there, and every other thing kind of remains the same. So let's first cut this one so I don't make a mistake for this one. So I'm lifting it up, cutting this away. Good. Now I'll cut this back. Perfect. So that's all we'll have for those two parts. The next part will cut from the bottom all the way to the top. So this is what we'll have. We'll go ahead to snip here. And here for the pockets. Next thing we do is get a rectangular piece of whatever color of fabric you want to use. I'm using, this is black crepe, and it's about 18 inches long, and the width is about 9.5 inches wide. It's folded into two. Next thing we're going to do is actually cut out the diagonal shape that we are going to be using. So from this top part here, I'm going to measure to about 9 inches here and mark that point. Then from that 9 inches at the bottom, I'm going to just measure about let's do 5.5 inches, and then just draw a straight line connecting those 2 points. And now we can cut this out. You should be having something like this. The next thing we're going to do is fuse interfacing to make this sturdy. All right, so this is what we have. We have gone ahead to fuse the inside with the interfacing and ironed about 1/2 inch around the perimeter of this shape, okay? And we use the color stain, not the paper stain. We use the thicker one so that it continues to remain strong and stable and has a firm structure. So the next thing we're going to do is get the front part of our dress. Okay, let's take it step by step. So this is actually the right side of the fabric. You can see that. So we're going to make it show on the wrong side where we were marking on, which is here, right? The next thing we do is get our this one, and we're going to place the right side on the wrong side. Let the interfacing face you. Position it properly and then sew this along the sewing allowance. We'll go to the sewing machine now. Okay, so we're done sewing this now, and what I was saying was, you know, this is the front. By the time we snip it and put it this way, then this one too will be facing us. So we're just going to cut this off right now. So we can decide to do a top stitch this way so that it stays to the fabric, or we iron. You can put hemming gum. When you put hemming gum, it stays in place that way. So we're going to iron it properly so that it stays put. Then this shoulder part, we can now sew it to the front. then attach this whole part to the front. We're just going to sew on it, joining this to the front. Then place your back on the front side facing front side. Finish first with everything you want to do. Front side facing front side. Sew up the shoulders, sew up the sides. Please remember to leave this armhole open, because that's where the hand will be going in and coming out from. Yeah, let's finish up the rest. The next thing we want to do is prepare the pockets for this BUBU. I have two rectangular pieces placed on each other this way, so this is it. 1, 2. So the next thing we're going to do is, let me tell you the dimensions. It is 11 inches long and 10 inches wide. 11 by 10, that's the dimension. What I just did was place my hand this way, like spread it out wide, and just went round about it. So I can put my phone, I can even put a purse, I can put my card holder, whatever I want to put there. So that's what I did. You know, for the pockets we left, is it about 6 or 7 inches? I think it was about 6 inches for the hand to go in and out of. So from there you can decide to trim this much, right? For the pockets, we're practically closing up everything here. All this part where we have blue chalk is going to be closed up, and the only part that will be open is here, which will be joined, it will be attached to the BUBU, to the dress. Okay, so just place this on it, line it, and then just go around the same way. I've also prepared this, turned it inside out, see the inside there, ironed it in place so that this part does not move. See how crisp it is. So I'm just going to be sewing this on there. Okay,